Behind the TV picture and through the looking glass, the camera. Willie, my dad, had plenty to say about his experiences at Tallahassee's first commercial television station. Hence, in this segment, we will just let him speak. However, his oldest child, me, has indeed done a lot of selecting. One languid afternoon, we had stopped a show for a commercial break. A slide was being displayed. We luxuriated in the fact that it was not only the correct slide, but it was right side up. Without warning, the door to the studio booth burst open and the audio man exploded into the sacred precincts of video control. He ran to the slide projector, seized the drum, and gave it a firm and artistic spin. The exquisite picture that was being broadcast dissolved into a grotesque montage of Joe's Fish Market, Aunt Minnie's Disco, and Big Al's Mortuary. When hauled before the tribunal to account for his sin, the audio man offered a pithy explanation. "I don't know," he shrugged. "It just seemed like a good idea." In conformity with the underlying theme of rustic simplicity, Channel Blank Studio had neither heating nor air conditioning. In the summer, 120-degree temperatures quickly wilted costumes, melted makeup, and dripped perspiration onto already soggy copy. In the winter, the gentle tinkle of icicles often accompanied soul-sundering renditions of the gospel groups, and when we could get away with it, we sometimes did a show in overcoats and mittens. True, the summer temperatures were somewhat attenuated by two huge ventilating fans on the roof, but the violent flapping of their blades forced us to shut them down during a show. The studio also possessed a large door through which autos could be rolled in for display. In the summer, this was normally left wide open to help modify the stifling miasma. Since the studio was adjacent to the woods, things other than air often infiltrated the studio. We were infested with creepy crawlies, and these, although terrifying to the ladies, were not too much of a problem. The flying varieties were much more difficult to apprehend. The weather routine was of very short duration and required a rapid-fire delivery with short, heavy breathing. One night, after expending a lungful on the state of meteorological phenomena in Pocatello, Idaho, I took a deep breath. A fly, idly flittering about in the almost liquid air, while savoring the delights of youth and spring, was drawn into the vortex. The weather came to an abrupt stop. I swallowed hard several times while trying to appear unconcerned. But a fly massaging your epiglottis with his feet could be distracting. Thoughts regarding the fly's recent associates and possible haunts began to multiply. I wanted to throw up, but this was against company rules. Finally, the fly lost its grip and ended his career in a pool of gastric juices. The camera crew was doubled over in amusement. The annual Rattlesnake Roundup always provided some stimulating and provocative visitors to the early morning show. The guests usually arrived in style, hidden in the depths of a musty croaker sack, writhing and squirming to get a clear shot at their tormentors. Naturally, the camera had to stick its nose in everything. So the snake's chaperones would poke around in the sack with a long stick equipped with a miniature lasso at the end and would eventually heave them out onto the studio floor. They say that a rattlesnake will not attack unless sufficiently disturbed. These had been. Surly and misanthropic, hissing sibilantly, with forked tongues probing the area immediately ahead, they would slither around the studio floor, first toward the cameraman, then toward the announcer, fixing one and then the other with a beady stare. It was an unsettling way to start the day. Alligators, fellow reptiles endemic to this part of the country, also did a guest shot from time to time. It is a well-known fact that an alligator has no strength in opening his jaws. You could keep his jaws closed with the grip of one hand. That is, if you can hold on to them. Be warned that once his jaws are open, he can close with the force of a hydraulic press. Accordingly, our saurian friends had their mouths taped shut with transparent sticky tape to keep them taking a chunk out of fellow performers. The tape was almost invisible to the probing eye of the camera and thus made the studio personnel look quite fearless. Never try to repair a pair of alligator shoes with sticky tape. It doesn't adhere well. During the show, the tape came off, and the gator, summoning a particular voracious appetite from the depths of his prehistoric psyche, darted across the studio floor with gaping and well-toothed jaws aflap. It was early in the day, but any latent sleepiness was summarily brushed aside, with massive jolts of self-preserving instincts. The gator had treed a cameraman on his tripod and was trying to gorge himself on any portion of available anatomy. Rousing himself from a shock-induced stupor, the gator's keeper bounded into the fray and finally succeeded in luring the beast back into his cage. Our nerves twitching and shattered, we made a feeble attempt to continue. End of Ragsdale's remarks. It is amazing to me that there is still so much of Dad's writing that must be kept hidden away. However, I'm sure he wrote the truth about the various people and situations he had to work with on a daily basis. Yet even if I had included some of the more colorful material, you would have never believed it.